everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tackling a massive, persistent bottleneck in modern business, and that is, how do we deliver actual, measurable benefit from big data? We're going to move right past all the hype and surface-level buzzwords to look at the exact operational roadmap you need to make your data work strategically. Basically, we're talking about taking this huge, abstract concept and transforming it into a concrete competitive advantage. So, right off the bat, we have to ask the million-dollar question. How can a business actually unlock big data's strategic value? So many organizations out there are collecting just mountains of information, but they totally failed to turn it into any real leverage. There's this huge gap between just passively hoarding data in a warehouse and actually having active, actionable, strategic intelligence. Well, today, we're going to bridge that gap using a very specific framework we've pulled directly from our source material. To do that, we're going to follow a really clear three-pillar framework. First up, establishing business importance. Second, extracting useful data. And finally, traditional data integration. Okay, let's dive into this. The crucial thing to understand here is that these aren't just three random, isolated topics. This is a strict chronological data journey. And honestly, the sequence is absolutely non-negotiable. You literally cannot skip straight to integration without conquering steps 1 and 2 first. Think about it. If you try to jump right into extraction before you figured out why the business even needs the data, you're just going to burn valuable compute cycles and engineering hours querying completely useless data sets. So first, you establish strategic alignment. Only then do you extract. And finally, you integrate. All right, let's kick things off with our first pillar, establishing business importance. Here's the deal. Before a company even thinks about buying expensive cloud architecture or spinning up a single cluster, they have to establish exactly why this data matters operationally. What does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it means defining specific KPIs. You have to align your whole data extraction plan with a really tangible objective. Maybe it's a Q3 revenue goal, or maybe a targeted reduction in supply chain latency. You've got to define the stakes up front. Without this foundational step of pinpointing the precise strategic value you're aiming for, any technical work you do after is basically just a really sophisticated solution looking for a problem. Which brings us right into section 2, extracting useful data. Now that we know our objectives, we shift gears from strategy to actual execution. And right away, we hit a massive friction point, the sheer challenge of extraction. Raw data is, frankly, a total mess. It's just an overwhelming, unstructured mountain of logs, text, and telemetry. And confronting that means you are dealing directly with terrible noise-to-signal ratios. The real technical headache here isn't actually storing the data. It's cleansing it, parsing those unstructured inputs, and isolating the exact variables that actually drive insights. Until your engineering team successfully beats this challenge and extracts only the genuinely useful signals, raw big data is a liability, not an asset. And that leads us to our final stop, section 3, traditional data integration. Now, what's really interesting here is the massive clash between your shiny, newly extracted big data and your existing traditional data. It's a deep conceptual and technical contrast. On one side, you've got these novel, high-velocity insights that your team just parsed. On the other side, you have your foundational legacy data, stuff like your established SQL databases, historical customer records, your core CRM metrics. Trying to merge wild real-time data streams with highly structured legacy systems creates immense technical friction. But, and this is key, they absolutely cannot remain separate. Big data was never meant to just sit in a silo and replace your old architecture. It has to be merged with it to enhance what you already know. Our source material actually hits the nail on the head with this exact phrase, telling businesses they must integrate big data with traditional data. Because true business benefit, it only happens when these two completely distinct streams are successfully unified. Just think about the power of that synthesis for a second. It's like merging real-time social sentiment data from today with your company's 10-year historical sales records. That specific combination right there is exactly what creates a truly predictive 360-degree view of your business landscape. And that brilliantly illustrates our entire equation for today. Delivering real business benefit means establishing the operational importance right out of the gate. It means taking on the massive technical challenge of extracting only the useful data. And finally, it demands integrating that fresh data directly with your traditional legacy systems. This three-part equation is literally the ultimate differentiator between old-school companies that just hoard data and modern industry leaders who actually wield it for strategic dominance. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Look at your own organization right now.
Are you just passively hoarding data in a warehouse somewhere, or are you aggressively extracting the useful signals and integrating them with your traditional systems to get a real edge? Because honestly, that difference is exactly what separates the leaders from everybody else. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.